Hi guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Oh my gosh, okay, so today we're doing something a little bit exciting. I went onto my Instagram and I asked you guys for some questions. I've not done like a question video for like literally about 2.5 years. As always, come follow me on Instagram. I'm almost on 100,000 followers on Instagram, so let's try and get 100K. That's exciting. And if I do another one of these videos, we can get your questions in. But let's not beat around the bush here and get straight on to the questions. Would you test out worst home piercing methods providing no serious damage? Hell effing no. There is no way in hell that I'm going to pierce myself at home, use piercing guns on myself, use piercing staplers, like, you know, scalpel bits of things for any video. Like, that's the worst thing imaginable. I don't need the attention like that. I don't need the clout from that. I don't want any kind of followers from that. Like, I don't want anything like that. I could not imagine anything worse than being known for shoving staples through your lips. Like, no. Am I too old to get my septum done at 47? You are never too old to express yourself. Do not stop doing things like that because of your age. Literally, you wanna get a tattoo, you wanna dye your hair, you wanna wear some sort of clothes, like, don't ever use your age as either an excuse of like, oh, I'm too old to do this now, or a thing to hold you back going, I'm too scared because I think I'm too old. No, 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 you do what you wanna do. You were never too old to express yourself. You were always so bright and colorful, but which one's your favorite? Well, judging by the color of the questions, my favorite color is purple. I don't know why I did that so creepily. My favorite color is purple, girls. Have you ever been through an emo phase or skater phase? By the way, love you lots. I love you too, girl. So no, I never went through an emo phase. When a lot of the emo stuff was going around, I was very chavvy. I still have little things left of my chavness. But I mean, I never acted like a chav, but I always dressed chavvy. I never had like an emo phase. Back when like the early 2000s, I did have that sort of like skater phase where like people were wearing like the bolt jeans, the chains everywhere, and the skull t-shirts and the skull hoodies and things. I don't have any photos of it, unfortunately, but I did go through like the skatery phase. Back then, I never actually did skateboard, so because that's just, no, I couldn't, no. Standing on skateboard, I'd fall off within 10 seconds. I wish I had photos to show you, but unfortunately I don't. Have you done any of your piercings yourself? So I have been waiting for someone to try to like do like a cancel thing, or Roly's cancelled, or like an exposed video or something about me saying like, Roly pierced himself. Yes, I have done a few piercings myself. 2 I got my friends to do at my house, and the other one I did do myself. I did do a tiny video that, I mean, I was in my conservatory like in 2012, and I was like, I'm gonna go pierce my right ear. It's a really, really old video. I didn't actually film myself doing it. I just said that I was going to do it, and it's this one here. So I literally just got back from piercing my own ear. So I just pierced my own ear. I don't endorse self-piercing. I also got my 2 upper lobes done by my friends. I got my friend Matthew to do it back again, long time ago. I bought like a needle and I bought gloves. It was all done like with the right equipment. It was just done at home. The only problem is now, the top one's healed perfectly fine. So, you know, you could say in some way that was a home piercing gone right. I mean, I would never promote doing that. I don't ever do that. I would never do it now. 21-year-old me was a bit stupid. When I did the one my right earlobe myself, it's done at a funny angle because I wasn't doing it properly, which is why I haven't stretched my right earlobe. And I've wanted to do it for a little while, but I'm really worried about it because when I did it at like basically a slanted angle like that. I'm worried that when I stretch it, it won't look right. So, you know, that's the thing. Like, I did it myself. I was dumb. I was stupid, but like, I've learned from that now. I would never do that again. But girls, I exposed myself. I bring my own drama. I was honestly waiting for someone to go back far enough on my YouTube. Because I mean, I've been doing YouTube now for 12 years. Like, I was waiting for someone to go back far enough and be like, oh, you said you were gonna pierce yourself, girl. Yeah, a lot changes in 8 years. How do you deal with homophobia, and how did you gain the confidence you have now? It's a difficult one to answer. I can't really. You just stop caring over time, and that's just what happened to me. You just get used to it, and that sounds awful, but you just get used to people calling you I mean, I live my life quite publicly on the internet, so of course I get it a lot more than most people would. Once you leave school and you don't have to deal with the school people, like, you don't tend to get very much anyway. But for me, like, going through all the bullying and horrendous stuff in school, I just got used to it, and it just stopped bothering me because I was just like, well, that's their problem, it's not mine. YouTube has definitely toughened me up to a lot of stuff because people on the internet, when you're anonymous, are far more vicious than people who you see in real life. And now when people call me like any like homophobic terms or anything, I'm like, okay? Any tips for someone who wants to use their art for a way of living? So the best advice I can give anyone is don't give up on your dreams. Don't ever give up on stuff you really, really want to do, but just be realistic. Don't just suddenly quit your job now and be like, right, I'm gonna be a full-time artist, because that's not how the world works. You have to make sure you have like some kind of backup, or you have some kind of like money behind you so you can like rely on it for a while. I was working in a shop for 10 years. I used to work in retail. I was also doing YouTube on the side, trying my hardest to do, because that's what I always wanted to do. I've always wanted to be a full-time YouTuber. I've wanted to do it since, you know, ever since you could. I never gave up on it. I worked and I worked and I worked. And sometimes I had burnout. I was stressed out. I was like, had no sleep because I was spending every other time. If I wasn't working in my shop, I was working at home on videos, and not every single person can do this instantly, and it does take a long time. I'm the prime example. It took 10 years of me doing this before I actually made it a job. So sometimes it takes a long time, but don't ever give up on your dreams. What did you want to be when you grew up? So this is kind of embarrassing, but like I mean, we're talking when I'm like 6, 7. I always used to want to be a checkout person, and I know that's lame. So that's like, I mean, I lived the dream for 10 years, and it really wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I remember when I was young, I used to go to shop with my like parents and things, and like I used to love watching the people scan like the items. I thought it was really fun, and watching the numbers, and to me it was like this computer that was amazing. I remember having like a present for Christmas one year, and I had like a play till. It was like a toy checkout counter thing, and I had a till on it. I had a scanner thing that you would scan and it would beep, and it would have numbers that would come up, and you had fake food, and I was living for it, girl. Like, I absolutely loved it. I also once wanted to be a tap dancer. I love river dance. I always wanted to be like a river dancer. That never happened. And then I wanted to be like a computer game designer, and that never happened because I literally cannot do art for crap. And then I wanted to be a YouTuber, so I eventually got to my second dream. How the heck are you staying sane during lockdown? Now, I got so many questions like this. It was like, what are you doing? How are you coping? How are you and Callum doing? How's everything? Considering the situation, I feel like, you know, we're very lucky that we do get on and we don't argue. And I couldn't imagine anything worse, having to be quarantined with someone who you despise. So my heart goes out to anyone who happens to be in a bad situation. Stick through it. I know, like, in the long run, it'll be for the greater good. This is only temporary. We take turns going shopping and stuff, so we don't go out together. We make sure that we, you know, I mean, we've barely left the house in like a month. We were isolating ourselves before even they were telling us to. I'm very lucky as well that, you know, my job is doing YouTube, so I can still kind of do my job. We both lost like some deals and things that I've gone through, and some trips that we were going on. Although, oh my gosh, can I say, sleeping habits and my body clock has literally just gone F you. I'm going to bed at like 4 in the morning and wake up at like 11, 12. But I don't know, not even my choice. I don't know if it's just because I'm not doing as much, so my energy is like not being burnt off as much, but my body clock has just gone insane. And recently we started playing Animal Crossing, and it's just been like, it's weirdly addictive. Like, in my head now, all I can think of is like, I wonder what's going on in my island, girl. Wanna be my sugar daddy? Darling, you need to be rich in order to be a sugar daddy. And rich, I ain't. How do you deal with a lot of fans, and do you like having fans? When I first started getting a big boost in numbers, back in 2018. It was a lot, and I think because you know, my channel had steadily grown, and I got like 100,000 subscribers in the space of, you know, like 6, 7 years. So it was a long time to get them. So even when I got to like 100K, it was kind of only really about maybe 50, because the first load of people who subscribed to me back in like 2009 and 10 were not here anymore. It's kind of to a stage now where like, I tend to get recognized at least once or twice, even if I just go out for shopping for a day. That kind of took a bit of getting used to. I love it. And you know, if you ever see me in the street or anything, please come and say hello to me. I'm more than happy to give you a hug. We'll have a chat. You know, we take photos and things. I love it. I love interacting with you guys. When I go to like theme parks, like events and things, it sometimes can be a bit kind of like, wow, there's a lot of people, because, you know, with theme parks, you know, my audience is primarily like teenagers. So when I go to theme parks and things, there's so many teenagers there. So sometimes it's a bit like, wow, there's so many people here at the same time. And like some in the city and like VidCon, all that kind of stuff. I love everything about it. Like, it's, you know, I love you guys and love meeting you guys. So please never feel like you can't ever come and say hi to me. One thing I will never get over is when people draw me. I'm like, you've spent so much of your time doing this, and I'm like, I don't feel like I'm anything special. Have you ever met or become friends with a fan or follower, subscriber? So this is a very interesting question, because like most of my friends and things from my life now, or people in my life, have become friends from either being a follower of mine or a friend that I know, or maybe I was a follower of them. Like Luxaria is one of my best friends, and I was like a big hardcore fan of hers. And like we've become friends, and I was like obsessed back in the day, and now we're like best friends. I mean, there's a limit, obviously. Like there has to be like a limit when it comes to like age and things. Like, you know, most of my friends are kind of my age. If I meet you in a club and you seem cool and we're chatting and we're getting on really well, like I'm more than happy to be your friend. Like just because you're, you know, a viewer or something, it would never make me like be like, well, don't want to be friends with you. Are you planning on getting any new lip piercings? Face-wise, I do not want anything more. I do stick on my bridge piercing now and then. Obviously it's not real, sometimes I have a piercing here, but like I don't want any more on my lips, I don't want any more on my nose or my cheeks or my, like anything. Like this is my perfect look. Ear-wise, yes, I want a few more things on my ears. What do you miss doing that you can't do because of quarantine? So one thing that I absolutely love doing is me and Luxaria tend to have like a weekly, maybe slightly fortnightly meetup where we'll go into town, we'll go and get dinner together, we'll go shopping, and then she'll come back to my house and we'll play video games all night. And we do that like every week, maybe every fortnight, and that's what I'm really missing at the moment. And also going out and buying pops. My addiction needs to be like, you know, fed. Do you get ingrown hairs in your head because you shave it? When I first started doing it back in 2013, I did think that I was going to get them. I don't know why, I never have. I sometimes cut my head with a razor, which is the problem. Would you ever consider moving to the United States, and why? If you were to ask me this question in 2014, I would have said, yes, I'd love to live in LA, love to live in West Hollywood with the gays and live it up, girl. First of all, I love London way too much. I can't see myself ever moving out of London for a long time. Also, there's no way of me really saying this, but like, without sounding like I'm being offensive, but I just don't want to live in America, like especially when Trump's there. And also like it worries me about like this is like a sorry to bring it there, but it's actually like a common fear a lot of British people have, and it's your gun laws. Like the thought of just anyone being able to kind of just have a gun is terrifying. And like in England, like you just can't have that. You just don't get that here. And like it actually scares me. Like it genuinely scares me. I would go for a period of time. I would maybe like a month or two, but live there. I wouldn't want to live there. If you could start over again, what piercings would you get first / avoid doing? So if I had 0 piercings now, first of all, I'd treat my labret piercing better. I wouldn't, you know, keep the long bar rings. It did damage my teeth, which is why I don't wear it in anymore. I would also like plan them out better, where there'd be more unison, where it'd be like a cool design, or like I'd have shapes in my ears, and I'd maybe have some like cool like industrial piercings where the like bars are shaped differently to fit ones, like you might have seen before in some of my like piercings gone right video. Originally, I did kind of start off going, this is my internal piercings, this is my external, because obviously this is a lot of my helix stuff, and this is like the inside of like the inner stuff. But like I've kind of now branched out, and they're kind of a mix of both on each ears, because you know I've got so many now. What's the craziest reaction you've gotten from a fan when they saw you? Oh my gosh. Oh God. I mean, I've had quite a few. I mean, I remember like Summer in the City. I think was it last year? Was it last year, Summer in the City? I remember he made me do like a handstand, and I did like a handstand, he held my legs. We had like a photo of like upside down. I've had a couple like uncomfortable situations where, I mean, I've had someone try to follow me home before. Now that was a lot. He actually was a Patreon as well, and it was a lot. There's a long story about this. I haven't really spoke about it, but I actually kind of got like, it was just a lot, and it scared me for a while. And I kind of ended up like coming off of Patreon for a long time now. I need to go back. I feel really bad because I've kind of left. Now, if you're watching, I'm very sorry. I just had an incident, and it just kind of like scared me. That was a lot, girl. Didn't expect to go dark. No. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I remember. This was Drag World in the UK in 2017. A follower asked me if they could lick my head. Do never ask me if you can lick my head. That's not happening. That's weird, it's not happening. How was your self-esteem in your mid-20s? Do you think you have changed? I literally don't even recognize that person anymore. I was so obnoxiously loud. And I mean, a lot of gays in their early 20s are very much like, I'm the queen of the world, girls. When I came out and I started doing YouTube, I was always kind of, maybe like 2011-ish time, I was very confident anyway. I wasn't confident when it comes to doing things on my own, but if I was with my like friends or something, I was basically untouchable. untouchable when it comes to people calling me things, whatever. As someone who's turning 30 this year, if I was the same as I was when I was 21, I'd be like, I failed as a human being. Like, like if you've not aged or like adapted or changed in that time, then what are you doing? Like, life is about experiencing and, you know, growing up and like, you know, becoming knowledgeable and like, just you can keep things about you, like your music taste or things, you know, you want kind of young spirit. Like if I was still doing the stuff that I was when I was 21, now, like it's weird, Even like me going to like a high school prom, like it would just feel weird being around teenager, like it would just feel weird. What's your gender identity now? Are you man or is it more complicated? So a year ago, I did do a video where I talked about my gender identity and how I used to identify as non-binary, and I've kind of taken all that offline. I mean, I'm not gonna talk about loads just because, you know, I'm not gonna go, that's a long video. I tend to just go by the term queer now. Any pronoun you wanna call me is absolutely fine. I don't care about that. My gender identity is just not something that I really wanna talk about anymore. It's just not something that I'd like to express, like just because it's just been too much, there's too much drama and I just can't deal with it. It can be a really messy community. People get very much like, I'm more woke than you because I think there's 1,000 genders and you only think there's 3 or you only think there's 4. And unfortunately, the community is kind of ripe with that and gatekeeping when it comes to labels and gatekeeping, you're not this because you're this and you're not trans enough and you're not non-binary enough and you don't look like this. And unfortunately, again, the community is just rampant with it. I just call myself queer. I don't need to explain myself any further. Hate, the word we can't say, forcing us to quarantine/social distancing. So to begin with, yes, it was really annoying. And I was a bit stubborn and being like, oh, I really don't want to do this, girls. But like what you don't realize, what people don't tend to think about, if the hospitals and everything get overrun with people who are infected with the thing, you forget that if anything happens to you that's not related to it, you're not gonna suddenly be treated. Young people who are always like, it's not gonna get me, I'm fine, whatever, I'm gonna go out and live my life, girls. Like, yeah, but then if something does happen to you that's bad, that's unrelated to this, you ain't gonna get seen. Like, you're just gonna be left to the side. And also, like, it's not about you. Like, think about other people that are gonna get affected by it. Like, do you not give a shit about your grandparents? I find that concept of being like, oh, F the old people. I'm like, well, do you really not care about your grandparents? So stay the effing home. Are you vegan / would you consider going vegan? I am a meat eater, sorry guys, but I do make a very, very big conscious effort to minimize my meat intake. Even like with milk and stuff, I don't drink milk anymore. I use like soy or, you know, any kind of like alternative. Oat milk, I absolutely love oat milk. When I'm at home, I have a lot of like vegetarian sausages. I love Linda McCartney sausages, they're gorgeous. And me and Callum tend to eat like vegan burgers. My meat intake isn't massive now anyway. I've reduced it so much. I mean, I used to have an eating disorder like years and years ago, and I'm worried that if I cut more food out of my diet, that I will just end up going back to that. I don't know, it's a hard thing to battle. Where did blank go? Bring him back for a collab. We miss blank. So I'm not gonna name who this person was that they've asked for. I have obviously been on YouTube for such a long time, and I've had people in my videos that are no longer in my videos. I mean, it's going to happen. Friendships change. It's rare that you stay friends with the same people that you've met your entire life and you still stay friends. Unfortunately, some people aren't as nice as you think they are, and they're no longer part of my life. If you've not seen someone on my channel, on my Instagram, on my Twitter, and I haven't spoke about someone for years, there's probably a reason, and maybe they're just not in my life anymore. It's not always nice to have to see bring them back or where have they gone, like, because it reminds me of times that I'm just like, I've closed that chapter in my life with people, and I don't want the constant reminder of someone who was incredibly toxic in my life. What old person thing do you do? So, oh my gosh, so some of you might know this, some of you might not. I was raised by my grandparents. They adopted us after us going through lots of different homes. It was a whole process. I might do a video one day. I actually do a lot of old people things. My housemate Callum always tells me off for doing certain things. Like I never leave anything on standby. I pull things out of the wall from plugs. I turn them all off. There's certain words I say, certain things that I say. I mean, it's hard to think top of my head, but like there's expressions and things that I do that's very old people. My eating habits is very old. I'm very like, I'm very fussed with what I eat, and I'm very much like, I eat a lot of like home Britishy food, and like my eating times is very like an old person's eating time, very scheduled meal times. I think it's mainly like some of the things that I say and do is very much my grandparents. I'm very stubborn, like my grandfather was, very, very stubborn. And like even like films I used to watch, like Carry On films. There's an old film series from like the 50s to like the very early 80s. It was Carry On films, like comedy films, and I love watching them. What is one thing you would change about the world? Now this is a very big question. I think one of the things that really upsets me and annoys me is this cancel culture, army, sheep mentality where everybody thinks that their opinion needs to be said, when in actual fact, it really does not. Two people are fighting on the internet and they've said something, like you don't need to jump in and say, that person should die, that person's a cunt, that person, like, what's it doing? What is that actually doing to the conversation? It's just the whole sheep mentality where people do no research whatsoever. They do no research. They read one thing they see on Facebook and all of a sudden it's fact. Even now, like people, the stupidity of people now going around saying that 5G is causing the current situation, again, I can't mention, but like people saying that 5G is causing it, and it's like, are you an idiot? And they're like, I saw it on Facebook. I'm like, just literally go away, turn your computer off and go and sit in a room and be silent. Have you ever thought about being a professional piercer? No. And the reason I don't want to is one, I feel like if I'm doing it 24/7, I would fall out of love with it. Like anything, if you do stuff too much, you become bored and it doesn't have the same effect. For me, piercings is a fun experience, it's a fun thing to do, and I can talk to you guys about it and experience things. I think if I was doing it 24/7, it would get boring and monotonous. I don't like the thought of having someone's sort of like health in my hands. Like piercing people is quite, you know, it's a dangerous thing. You can do something wrong and no piercer can ever say that they've done everything like perfect every single time. They've trained at some point, they've done things wrong angles, they've done things wrong, they've slipped up, they've done, like no piercer has ever done anything perfect 24, like all the time. I'm the kind of person, like if I did your piercing wrong and it messed up and you got gangrene or swelled in your ear or whatever, it would haunt me forever. Like I'm the kind of person that cannot let go of that kind of stuff. Like that would plague me. And the thought of that is like, no, I couldn't. Did you ever date a girl before you came out as gay? I've had more girlfriends than I've had boyfriends. That's all I'm saying. What is your favorite pop figure out of your collection? Oh my God, what an incredible question. My favorite is Kang Kodos. This was such a bitch to get hold of because it was like an exclusive in America and it wasn't here. It was just a lot to get hold of. I love this one so much. I'm a huge Simpsons fan. I absolutely love Simpsons, like my life. Did you ever get nervous when your videos started to go viral? PS, love your videos. Thank you. Nervous isn't the right term I would use. It was more kind of like, oh, it's happening. Like, I was excited. And there were so many different emotions going on because I'd wanted this for so long and I'd worked so hard. I'm sorry, but I've worked so effing hard on YouTube for so long that like when it finally happened, it was just like, I didn't know, like I had so many different emotions, like happiness, fear, anxiety. Like now, you know, I've become desensitized to it and stuff, and it's my job and it's my full-time job and doing it for 2 years, like full-time now for 2 years, and I'm used to it. But I'm still excited. It's still exciting to see, and I still, you know, I love. One of my favorite things to do is that when I upload a video and comment back to you guys, see what you're saying. You know, I read comments constantly throughout the day. I'm someone who always does that, and I reply to people throughout the day on every platform, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I reply to so many people every day, which I find ludicrous that people don't do that. I'm like, why would you not do that? But when it first stuff, it was like, oh crap, like what's happening? But also it was like, it's happening, and it was a lot. I will never forget that. I will never forget it, never. Why did you change your name from Roland to Roly? I never liked my name Roland. So people might not know, I mean, it's kind of half and half now. My birth name was Roland, and ever since I was young, I never liked it. I've never ever liked my name. I was also named after my great granddad, and he wasn't the nicest of people, and I think maybe as I grew up, I realized how I was like, I'm named after someone who I actually don't like. He was not a nice man at all. When I moved to London, and at this point, most of my friends who I had all knew me as Roly. Everyone would call me Roly. And when I moved away from Devon, it was just like, this is a good chance for me to like kind of almost start over. So I changed my name to Roly, almost like 3.5, 4 years ago now, and I've always felt more comfortable being known as Roly. From anyone now watching this, I'm not gonna say it very much in videos, but like, please just like, do not call me Roland, ever. Like ever. It feels like I'm being punched. Like I just don't like it. Like, do not call me Roland, ever, because that's not my name and it hasn't been for years now. What do I do? My ex keeps kissing me and I just want to be friends. First of all, I'm a bit weirded out that you're friends with an ex. I'm not saying it can always happen, but it's very, very rare. Also, if they're still trying to kiss you, kick them out your life, because they're obviously not respecting your boundaries. What's the weirdest reaction / feedback you've got in public? So, I used to work in retail. I had someone come up to me one time and say to me, why do you have piercings? Because you're not ugly. And I was like, did I hear her right? I was like, what's going on? What do you mean I'm not ugly? So I was like, what? And we had a conversation for a little bit and she genuinely believed that people got body modification or piercings because they thought they were ugly and that was the only way they could be attractive. Do you think people pierce their nose because they think they're ugly and that's how they get attracted? Like, what? How do you clean your earwax with lots of piercings? Using cotton bud is annoying. I only got 11 ear piercings. It's not even advised to use them because you could push it in your ear. I genuinely do not really know how you're supposed to clean your ears anyway, regardless of piercings. I tend to take, if I'm really doing like a deep clean or whatever, like, that sounds gross. I mean, I don't really have waxy ears anyway, but like I would take out these, like I'll take out one of these piercings just to get in the canal. But like, if you're not supposed to put things in to get it out, I'm like, how is it supposed to come out? And like, you can't just use eardrops all the time because like half the time eardrops will make it worse. I just think like, I actually genuinely do not know what the right answer for this is. If you have a magical cure, I don't trust Google, like, tell me. But like, I don't know, I use cotton buds. I have a shower, it's all heated up and everything's a little bit more loose and I just use cotton buds to clean, you know, out. What qualities stick out to you that make you want to be friends with someone? People who don't take themselves too seriously, people who can joke and laugh at themselves as well. Like if you, I find it weird that people, I don't like people who are just serious 24/7. I need to be able to make a joke about, you know, the fact that, you know, I'm a faggot and you not be a, why would you call yourself that? You shouldn't say that. You should not, like I call myself faggot all the time. I make gay jokes about myself all the time. Like I'm the kind of person that literally like doesn't care about what people think about me. You know, I don't care about what I think about, like I love being able to just joke about everything and everything. Obviously there's a time and a place. I just want to be friends with people who don't take themselves too seriously and can have a laugh